So it's funny that you mentioned doing things for the first time, because this is actually my first ever conference or summit. So I'm quite nervous. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I appreciate you guys and the great intro. But yeah, I'm going to do things kind of differently today. So I'm a black swan in this room. I totally get it. First off, I don't have a slideshow presentation. I'm just talking. That thing that they say when people speak and they say, like, picture the crowd in their underwear or something, like, you won't be nervous. It's kind of weird, so I'm not going to do that. And the second thing is I'm going to be talking wholesale. So I know that everyone in this room is here for DTC, right? Like, I get it. But I want to open your eyes to wholesale. So, like, my goal right now is to just pitch you on wholesale and tell you how amazing it is. Just kidding, but it is great. But I think I just want to open your eyes to it because, you know, with us growing up, I feel like we're all kind of about the same age, give or take. As children and as teenagers in high school, like, if you wanted something, you went to the store and bought it, right? So, like, retail was life. You wanted a new surfboard, you went to the surf shop. You wanted a skateboard, you went to the skate shop. 2010 came around, maybe a little bit before that, and e-commerce started booming, right? And so people were like, why would I ever shop in a store? I'm just gonna buy everything online. And we kind of bucked that trend a little bit. But I think what's crazy is you guys are seeing this, and Jacques actually said it, is things are changing back. Everything is cyclical. And essentially, you don't want to be a brand that one day if Meta's in a bad mood, you're shot, right? So I think that's why people are starting to realize that, like, hey, maybe we should look back at wholesale again, or start thinking about it, or if we're already doing it, maybe try to figure it out, grow it, scale it, etc. So that's why I'm here. I want to start this off by just telling you a story. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the brand Pura Vida bracelets.
Yeah.
Probably you have. Awesome. Okay. So we started Pura Vida in a room in San Diego, California. I lived with a couple buddies. We went to San Diego State. Graduated college, none of us had any idea what we wanted to do with our lives. So my two friends, their names are Griffin and Paul, were like, hey, we want to go surfing. We're going to go to Costa Rica. So they went to Costa Rica and surfed, and I said, I kind of want to party. So I went to Barcelona. I taught English there. It was great, it was fun. I came back 6 months later, and my two buddies had these string bracelets that they're selling in the bedroom. And I was like, oh, what are these? What are you guys doing? And they were like, dude, this is crazy. Like, we were down in Costa Rica, and we met these two guys on the beach selling string bracelets, like friendship bracelets. And we thought, hey, we could probably, like, make some money and maybe even meet some girls with these bracelets. So we asked them for a trash bag full of 400 bracelets. We said, we'll be back in 2 weeks, gave them money, and prayed that they would make the bracelets for us. So 2 weeks later, they come back. The two guys had a whole trash bag full of bracelets. These guys brought them home, brought them to San Diego, and just started selling them. So they put up a website. They would go to the San Diego State Library. There'd be people studying. They'd say, hey, follow us on Instagram. We'll give you a bracelet. Follow us on Instagram. We'll give you a bracelet. So they started building it. They started growing. Now I'm home, and I'm doing commercial real estate sales. I absolutely hated it. I was sitting in a room probably the size of this table, me at a desk with my back to my boss at his desk, expected to make 100 cold calls a day, and he listened to all of them. It was horrible. Like, it was the worst. I came in sweating every day. I left, like, I hated life. It was terrible. So 2 months into that, I was like, guys, let me sell these. Like, not online. Let me sell them to stores and people and retailers. And they were like, all right, I guess. Like, what do we have to lose? So I come in, I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna figure this out. So I start Googling surf shop San Diego. Oh, here's a bunch. I start calling up, dropping off samples. This is working. Surf shops Florida. Start sending samples, start sending them out. Little by little, we start growing some wholesale presence under the e-com presence. A trade show comes up. Someone we know goes, hey, I have a booth at this trade show in Vegas. It's called Magic, it's fashion. Do you want to throw us like $500 and have a little table on the side? And I was like, all right, for sure, let's do it. So I set up the display, we do the trade show, we have a line out the block. This guy that's next to us that shared the booth, super pissed, leaves early because we took all his customers. And that basically launched our wholesale program. So long story short, from there we kept growing the business, started in 2010, 2019, sold the majority of the business to a company called Vera Bradley. Their luggage, suitcases, backpacks, that kind of thing. At that time we were doing a little bit over 90 million in sales. We were about 75-25 e-com to wholesale. We had 30 sales reps under us selling in all of the US, Canada, Mexico, Europe. And we were doing like 100 trade shows a year. So that was 2019. 2023, we sold the remainder. 2025, 3 months ago, Vera Bradley then sold Pure Vita to private equity, and I bounced. It was a great ride. My buddies had left before that, and that's where I am now. So my goal now is to kind of, now that I've told you how we got to what we did and what wholesale kind of did for Pure Vita, is just teach you guys a little bit about wholesale, some things that you may have, some questions you may have in terms of it. So what exactly is wholesale? Do any of you guys sell your products right now, retail or stores? Okay. Make my life a little easier for a couple of you guys. So for everyone else, you have e-commerce, right? So you have your product, you list it on your site, Shopify, Amazon, etc., and you sell it to the customers. Wholesale is when you sell your products to a retail store. Now that could be a surf shop, a clothing boutique, that could be a Best Buy store, that could be a pet shop if you have pet supplies, any of that. So you sell your product at a discount, then they resell it. That's wholesale in a nutshell, right? There's sales reps, you do it in-house, there's distributors, but that's kind of like getting into the weeds of things. So that is the basis of wholesale, and like I had said earlier, the reason that I feel as though wholesale and retail are important is because you want to have multiple legs to stand on. One of the reasons that Vera Bradley really loved Pure Vita, obviously besides the numbers, was that we had multiple legs that we were standing on as a business, right? So we had e-com. If there was ever an issue with e-com, we had a robust wholesale business doing 35 million. If anything happened with that, we had retail stores. We had 5 Pure Vita retail stores. So to a bigger company looking to buy yours, if that's what you want to do, it's a really good selling point in terms of health of the business. So how Pure Vita grew our wholesale program is, and this is kind of how I recommend to most brands starting out, is we started in-house. So we have our product, the people in-house, you, whether you're a founder, you hire a salesperson, they work in-house, you hire an intern that just graduated college but he's in your office, you sell the product first. Now the reason I say that is because nobody can tell the story like you, right? And so what I see a lot of people doing way too early, and we made this mistake too, but is thinking that you can have a program in day one, hire some sales rep that sells to other people, and they're just gonna plug and play you right there, and you're gold, and you're gonna make a lot of money. Unfortunately, most of the time it's not true. The problem is if you do the sales rep model a little bit too early, these sales reps have a finite amount of time in a day, right? And they usually sell 5 or 6 brands. So if you think about it, they sell 5 brands, these 3 make them a lot of money because they're big brands. This one's okay, and here's your small brand. Where are they gonna focus most of their time? They're gonna focus it on the brands that make them money. So what I always like to recommend to people is if you're gonna go down this path, do it in-house, at least in the beginning. Get the foundation going, you tell the story, or at least you control the story being told while you're getting this thing up and running and launched. So from there, kind of how we continued to grow up was we were doing this in-house. We then got from 0 to 500K, $1 million, $2 million, $4 million, and we thought, okay, we need more help, we need a team. So we then brought in salespeople under myself and one of my partners. Trained them, grew it that way. We were doing it in-house, grew it, went to trade shows, making cold calls, dialing for dollars, all that. And then eventually, we decided to hire sales reps. Sales reps are an amazing tool, but I think only when you're ready, and I'll get into that. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys the path of how we went. So, you leave this conference, you're all fired up, and you're like, all right, I want to do wholesale. Let's get this thing going. Where do you start? First thing that I always recommend to people is figure out your elevator pitch, right? So like, you have an e-com product and you're telling someone about your product. Maybe you say, hey, we're the #1 searched lamp on Google, right, or whatever. I'm the number one YouTube search of this. Like, that's awesome, and that's really, really cool. But you gotta think about it. Like, if you put yourself in a retailer's shoes, let's say I own a store and I come up to you to ask you, why should I sell your product? You wanna have an elevator pitch to tell them so that they can then pass that along to people. If you're the most searched item online, it doesn't really resonate with someone in a store that's just kind of window shopping or just impulse buying. I think a really good example of this is a brand that I'm currently helping build a wholesale program is a bikini brand. They're really cool, based out of Florida, and they don't have any wholesale, but they do pretty well on e-com. And I asked them, what's your guys' elevator pitch? Why should a store carry your bikinis? And they told me, well, a lot of people search on Google for our top, because I forgot what it was, but an influencer posted about a lot of people search for it. So our Google Analytics are really, really good. And I was like, okay, so I own a surf shop. Come pitch me on it and tell me your Google Analytics are good. And they were like, hey, you're right. So what I then said is, I challenge you guys to think about, like, what can you tell people? What kind of story can get someone hooked if you're at a trade show and they walk by your booth and you can stop them? You have 15 seconds of their time. What can you tell them to make them interested in your brand? For example, hey, you know what? We've always loved the surf culture. Both of our wives are actually influencers in the bikini space. We always felt that every bikini out there is just a product. There's no brand behind it, there's no community. So we set out to start a bikini brand where our wives post the content. The bikinis are affordable, we're one of the lowest price on the market and the best quality, and everyone on Instagram sees it. So if someone comes in your store, they will immediately recognize Honey Swim. It sounds pretty good. I would probably bring that in if I owned a store. So I think for, how to translate that into you is like, think about yourself in the buyer's position of what would make them interested in your product and what would make them want to bring it into their store and take a chance on you. So that's the first step. I think the second thing is, once you've gotten past that point of like, okay, we're ready for wholesale, I know what the elevator pitch is, now you have to decide what products do I want to sell. So you may have 30 products online, right? Probably not going to sell all of them at wholesale. There's no point. We want to make things easy and we want to make sure people get the best products. So let's say you are a necklace brand and you have 30 different necklaces you sell online, but 10 or 15 of them are the staples, the best sellers, they're what everyone buys, they're what you're known for. That's what we want to offer to retailers. So I think thinking about, okay, what's going to work best in the store? If you have blue, red, yellow, green, black, pink, purple, you don't need all of it. Let's just pick 5. Let's make the buyer's life easy. Let's make the customer's lives easy. And let's just keep it simple. So I think what a lot of brands do that kind of gets them in trouble is when they go to launch, they have a catalog with 500 products in it. As a buyer, you have a million other things going on. You just go, hey, this is too hard, I'm over it, too much going on. Versus, hey, these are our 6 best-selling products, bring these in, you'll sell them. Easy, yes. So that's what I would say would be kind of the next step on that. Now the third thing is, can you sell your products wholesale, right? So like, do you have the margins for it? So like I had said, with wholesale, if your product is $20, you sell it to the retailer for 10, everyone's happy. Can you do it? If you can sell wholesale. Now, if you're paying $7 for a product and you sell it for 20, you probably can't sell it for 10 because you guys understand margins. I don't need to go into that, but that's another step that you have to think about. Now, the good thing about wholesale recently is with the iOS change in 2022 and ad prices getting more expensive and the marketplace getting so flooded, that the wholesale retail space is actually becoming more profitable for brands instead of selling DTC. And I'm not hating on DTC, I know where I am. But I'm just saying, like, Pura Vida started out for 10 years, we were 80-20, e-com to wholesale. And it was always like, wholesale's in the back burner, we're an e-com brand. Those were the days of put $1 into Facebook, you get $5 back. Unfortunately, it's not that easy anymore. Now, over the last 4 years, it balanced out and we became 60-40 e-com to wholesale. And wholesale is more profitable. So just another reason why more brands are starting to think about it, and why I think if you have a product or maybe if you're an agency and you have clients asking you about it, it is valuable now. Now onto the product. So margins are good, you know your elevator pitch, you know you want to do it. How do you start, right? So what I think is the best advice that we got when starting out is just say yes. So when we were going out and dialing for dollars, calling stores, sending our catalog, showing people at a trade show, and we had all these colors and all these things, we realized that people kind of got paralyzed by too much choice. So we just said, hey, we have a starter pack for you. We'll give you a free display. All you have to do is just say yes. Just say yes, I'll ship it to you, it'll be ready to go. That's all you have to do. You don't have to spend time picking it. You have a million things you're doing. You're running a whole store, you have 50 brands. I think about this all day and night, let me just handle it for you. And we got so many yeses that people just like, all right, thank you for making it so easy. Like, I appreciate it. I'm excited to bring you guys in. I think if you say, hey, here's 50 SKUs, you're gonna need to pick them all, tell me how many you want of each, tell me how many you want of this, it's gonna be too hard and they don't know your product like you do. So you're kind of setting yourselves up for failure a little bit. So one thing, if you could take away from this, is the just say yes model, is when you're going to retail, whether it's with one product or 20, just try to make it really, really easy for these buyers so they don't have to think twice about it. Next up is a display. So some of you guys may be thinking, okay, I have a cool product, whether it's socks, bracelets, sunglasses, watches, whatever it may be. Do I just sell it to the store and then tell them to figure it out, or what do I do? And what I would say is, if you have a product that can fit on a display, now clothing may be different or shoes different, but the majority of products, you want to create a display for them to put the product on. Now that could be a little branded spinning box on the counter with your logo on it. That could be a full floor standing display like Stance Socks uses when you guys see Stance in some stores. And it can even be something as simple as a little tree where the necklaces hang down. The reason for that is because you want to control where your products are and where your products are seen. If you send your products, let's say you make keychains to a store and you just say, hey, here's our product, have at it. They may put your product on a rack in the back. They may put your product on a rack with 10 other brands, no logo, nothing, doesn't tell the story. You're not going to sell well. So if you can go into this world and you have a product that fits on a display, like I said, whether it's big or small, do it. And there's plenty of resources out there to help make displays. There's tons of display manufacturers. You can even go on Alibaba, type in something you want, you'll get a chat with someone and they will make you a display. So it may seem a little bit daunting, but I promise it's not. Our first displays were so freaking ugly, but they did the job and they set our logo on it. So now you have all this down, you're ready to go, you got your display, you got your products, everything. How do you find stores? What's cool about nowadays versus 15 years ago is ChatGPT, amazing, and more stores and brands listing their store locator online. So when we started out, if we were here 15 years ago, I would have said, hey, hop on Google, type surf shop San Diego, type yoga studio Brooklyn, and just start calling. Now, you can use AI, ChatGPT, hey, give me the list of the 20 best surf shops in Jacksonville, Florida, or Miami, Florida. Pull that list, start calling. The other thing you can do is you can find similar brands to yours. For example, Pura Vida. Maybe you make sunscreen. You can go to sunbum.com. Go to their store locator, it'll tell you every store they have. It's the easiest cheat code. Take that, put it on a spreadsheet, set a goal of 10 calls a day, 10 calls a week, 20 calls a week, hire a couple interns from the local college like we did at Pura Vida, have them make calls. There's a lot of easy ways to do it now. So you can find stores that way. And another thing that I actually really enjoy doing is for you guys that have an e-com brand and a social media presence, is just throwing posts up and just saying, hey, where do you want to see our socks sold? Where do you want to see our sunglasses? Where do you want to see our watches? And you'd be surprised at how many people that are like, oh my God, you should sell it to Jared's shop in Oregon. This place would be amazing. Take that data, screenshot it, send it to the buyer and say, hey, I literally have customers that want to find my bikinis in your store. Like, can you bring them in? Like, they literally want to buy it. So we did that too. And I mean, how does a store say no if you're promising them business, right? So definitely recommend that. And lastly, trade shows. So trade shows are a fantastic way to be in the same room as a bunch of buyers. I'll get to the trade show section shortly though. So a big question, I think, as you launch is when you sell online, right? When you have an e-com store, like you obviously can control the brand voice you have, the content you post, like You know, like if you are a high-end brand, if you're a low-end brand, if you're in the middle, whatever it may be. With wholesale, it's the same thing, right? So I think what you need to decide is what do we want to be, right? Like, if we're selling clothing, do we want to be in the dollar store, or do we want to be in nice women's boutiques? If we're selling watches, do we want to be in 7-Eleven and CVS, or do we want to be in cool surf shops, cool retail stores, boutiques, hotel gift shops? There's no wrong answer. It just depends on your brand. But I think what you need to decide going into it, where I see a lot of brands make mistakes, is they say, hey, we're cool. Like, we're a cool brand, we're stylish, we're fashionable, celebrities are wearing us, it's awesome. And then they get a PO, a purchase order dangled from Costco or from TJ Maxx or from Ross, and they take it because it's money. And then they just killed their whole other business, which is cool boutiques, good branding, and a cool factor is gone. So I think what you need to decide is, hey, which direction do we want to go and who are we? Because we can't be everything. Down the road, you may be able to do a special line for Target or something, I'm not saying that, but as you're starting out, I think you need to really decide what lane do we want to play in and what brand voice do we want to have in the wholesale world. So with that, there's two major types of retailers. The mom and pops, the small stores, and the big box retailers. They both have pros and cons. So the mom and pops, right? 1 door, 2 doors, 3 doors. Doesn't sound that fun, doesn't sound that exciting. The big box, 200 doors, 500 doors, Nordstrom, Best Buy. That sounds cooler. Not always. So with the mom and pops, the orders will be smaller, right? It's 1 store, it's 2 stores, it's 5 stores. But the good news is they pay you up front. They give you their credit card. They say, charge my credit card the $500 for the order, ship the order. Now, this is how most of them are. Maybe there's a couple that aren't, but this is how 90% of these are. So your shipping orders, yes, they're smaller, but you are getting money up front, which is amazing for cash flow, amazing for projections, amazing for all that. Now, obviously, the problem is you need a lot of those to do a lot of business. But the good thing is you can stack those, be bringing in money, be getting your brand awareness out there, people see you, and then all of a sudden you get a knock on the door from Nordstrom, and you're ready for it. Because you have the foundation of cash coming in and people selling your line, so that if anything went wrong with this big box, you have product to sell it to. Now, big box, huge POs, right? A couple $100K, be amazing getting a $200,000 order in one, or $1 million order one day in your inbox. Comes with a lot of headaches though. They don't pay for 60 days, sometimes 90. You get chargebacks. So you put in all this work to ship Nordstrom this perfect order, you're so fired up on it, the whole office throws a party, you got your Nordstrom order, hell yeah. You didn't write the PO on the box. They charge you $200 per box. You left off a couple items on one of the boxes to one of the stores, they're not paying for that. You shipped one of them to the wrong address, chargeback. It's not always amazing. It is great if you do it right, but it also comes with a headache. The other problem is, you're a new brand, you're starting off, you don't want to go for the mom and pops, you just want one big box. Nordstrom comes over, they order 100 for 100 stores. A week before you go to ship it, they go, hey, this quarter's been a little rough, we're going to take it down to 20 stores. You made product for 100, what do you do with the product? Well, if you have a baseline of mom and pops, you have 500 other stores you have to sell it to. So I'm just trying to get you guys thinking of like the pros and cons of both. They're both great if you do it right, but I just think one big thing when people start out is, I'm going to shoot for the moon, I'm going to get this huge fat order day one, and we're going to be rich. Don't look past the mom and pops. They can be great for your business and great for your brand awareness. Oh yeah. So you have retailers now. People are selling the line, things are moving and grooving. What can you do for them? And what are they doing for you, right? So I think a big misnomer that people have, or had at least when we were first starting this out, is wholesale and retail compete with our e-com. They compete. I hate it. Not true. Wholesale and retail and e-com all coexist really well. The reason I say that is because if you think about it, when you get a customer online, they got served an ad, so they buy. They've heard about your product, so they search you out and they buy. or someone told them to buy it. Retail is a whole different world. How many people just go to the mall to just go shopping? How many people are in a hotel on vacation with their family and they forgot sunscreen and they need to buy it in the store? Or they're just bored. They give their kids money, go buy towels, go buy a bracelet, go buy this. That's a different customer. It's not overlapping, it's not taking product away from it, and it's not taking sales. And the great news is if you can get one of these customers that buy your product randomly at a gift shop, at a hotel, or at an airport store, or at a surf shop on vacation, and they love it, they're gonna go home and buy more stuff online. And then you have a customer that you don't even have to pay to acquire. It's kind of nice. So they coexist. Now with wholesale, I think the big thing maybe that is a little bit of a problem for some people is discounting online. Hey, I don't know if I can sell wholesale because I discount online or I do this and that. That is a great point. And I can't sit here and say, hey, if you're running 50% off every other day on your website, you're gonna kill it in wholesale. You probably won't. You'll probably piss some retailers off. But I think if you can launch wholesale and start to see momentum, you'll naturally wanna cut down the discounting, preserve brand integrity, and grow both very healthy. The good news is all the retailers know about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so when you discount the shit out of your website, they're all used to it. So don't worry about that one. Now what else can you do for stores? What's cool is when you start having stores that carry your line, you can partner with them. So they're showing off your line, they're essentially a face for your brand. People are finding your product. Well, what can you do for them? What can you tell them you're gonna do? Well, you can run contests in their stores. You can run sales contests to drive awareness. You can run a contest with their employees and give out gift cards to your website, which then employees will then go on the website and spend more money on your site, which coexists. You can do store of the month. You can feature them on emails, feature them on Instagram. You can get a window display. If any of you have a brand that works with surf shops, for example, I know you walk by a surf shop and there's a huge Ruka logo or a huge Billabong sign. That's free advertising. That's amazing. They're selling your product that they've bought from you and they're giving you a free real estate ad space. So there's a lot in it for both people. So it's kind of a win-win there. So I think next from there is once you have that, you got a foundation going, you're moving and grooving, you're doing a few million in sales. Okay, we can't do this all in-house. We need sales reps. How does that work? What do we do? How do we find them? So sales reps are great when used properly. Sales reps are outside teams for the most part that are 1099, that usually have their own agency or their own showroom or their own business, and they're repping multiple lines and selling it in a certain territory. So why is this good, you ask, right? Like why? Well, if you have a product that you want to make sure is fully stocked on the display at all times, or if you sell shirts and the sizes all get mixed and you want someone in there, boots on the ground, changing up the sizes, making it look nice, that's where sales reps come in. So what you would then do is, hey, we're based out of San Diego, I'm looking for sales reps in the Southeast. Great. So there's plenty of sales reps out there, plenty of showrooms. Maybe they also rep a bikini line, maybe they rep a sock line, maybe they rep a hat line. And you think, okay, this is great. Like I have a shoe brand, perfect fit. These guys now sell your product. They're going in the stores, they're on the road, they're talking to buyers, they're putting it in stores, they're updating their displays, making sure things look amazing, and you're just paying them a commission. So that right there is how you go from this to that. Because then, let's say you have 30 stores in Florida, these guys sell to 200. Now they're plug and play. Why didn't that work in the beginning? Because you didn't have enough momentum and enough buzz about your brand. But once you get that going on your own, instead of having to beg sales reps to sell your stuff, they're coming to you. So I got to wrap up shortly, but there was just kind of one more thing I wanted to talk about was trade shows. So trade shows are really cool, right? So I would say the one downside about trade shows is they're expensive. Like I'll just get that out of the way first. 100% they're expensive. However, there is no other place that you can be in a room with 500, 1,000, 2,000 buyers in a 3-day span. It's just impossible. You can make cold calls all day, every day. You won't get to 2,000 people unless you're like a machine, but still, you won't get there. And so trade shows, what they are is you are in a room, convention center kind of thing, where the theme is clothing, or the theme is electronics. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of CES, electronics, tech, that kind of thing. You go as a brand, you set up a booth, you set up your samples, you set up your order forms, catalogs, all that, and buyers come and they write orders and you ship them. Now, obviously it's not that easy, but in theory, that is what a trade show is. Trade shows are amazing because not only do you get the mom and pops, but a lot of times is how you get the Nordstrom, the PacSun, the Tilly's, the Ron John, because cold calling these big companies just is hard. It's really hard. And you can send them a package of your product and pray they open it and pray it gets to the right buyer. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But trade shows are kind of a cheat code because they're all there, they all have to be there, and they all have money to spend. So trade shows are a big part of how we got to where we were and how a lot of brands that I've seen in the past and see now get to where they are too. So don't be afraid of trade shows. That was kind of my last thing. I know I got to wrap up. But in general, I think just to sum everything up, wholesale is amazing. It's hard. It takes work. It takes manual labor. I cannot deny any of that. But it's extremely, extremely valuable. When you walk into a store that maybe you're on vacation or maybe you're walking around and you can see your product in that store, A, it feels damn good. And B, once you're in there, it's easy. You're just managing the relationship. You're getting reorders. They're expanding you to more stores. They're advertising for you. So, if you're thinking about wholesale, do it. I promise. That's it. Thanks, guys. Any questions?
All right, so I was the most excited for this one because, as he said before, can we do the hands again? How many people right now are in wholesale in any capacity? All right, so it looks like a little bit less than half the room, close to half the room. For the people who are in wholesale, how many are in less than 20 doors? How many are less than 10 doors? All right, perfect. I think, and how many people here are over 150 doors? All right, over 1,000 doors. All right, so you have all of this run for everybody who's inside here. I think that it's important to understand why people get into it and some of the downfalls. I think that everything Jared just talked about, unreal, right? Like, there's just so much that goes into it. So the first thing I want to go is magic. Who here learned about magic for the first time during this conversation? Okay. Who here knows about it as a trade show? Who here knows about it as a sourcing show? Who knows about it as sourcing? Okay, if you don't know about it as sourcing, Magic the Sourcing Show is also where you can find the person who can manufacture your stuff. Right? So if you have a streetwear brand and you want to get made in the same place that Represent is, Magic Sourcing Show can also get you introduced to the people who manufacture Represent. For UK companies, he was saying before, great places to research. Represent, because they're in the UK, they have to list every single manufacturer of their product on their website. So you can go there and see all of their manufacturers on their website right now today. Go there, it's free. Right? So just understanding and finding out about Magic, both sides, hugely important to what's going on. So question for you, who's your favorite big box retailer to get started in first, right? I know for me, in my world, the number one place everybody talks about is Shields, right? The reason why Shields is so good for sporting goods side, it's also a little more lifestyle, right? Combination of REI and Dick's Sporting Goods. But it's employee owned and operated. So it feels like a mom and pop, even though it's 25,000 square feet, right? Some of them are 100,000 square feet. For you, what's one of the ones that you immediately go to?
That's funny. Shields was going to be my go-to also.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fine. I got to back up. So for Pura Vida, we sold to a lot of stores that had 200 doors and a lot of stores that had 1, 2, or 10. Our number one account, so I consider it big box, but it's technically not, is Ron John. 12 doors on the East Coast. These guys were our number one account. Did more than Shields, did more than Nordstrom, did more than PacSun. And why they were my favorite? They pay on time, they place their orders every season, they don't cancel product, and they do what they say they're going to do. And when you have that relationship, it's freaking amazing. These guys pump some serious numbers.
And that's huge. And again, you guys heard him say that he's consulting with other brands. Finding somebody who's done it and just getting that line of sight, if he has a contact to Ron John, that's the opening, right? 12 doors. The reason why Shields is great, I didn't have to worry about expansion of doors. right? When you have a full rollout, you have everything else, you might think it's great to get more doors. But the reality is when you're first scaling out, it's hard to understand and buy enough inventory to project enough. A lot of the smaller places don't have as good of a projection, right? When you get to the big people, they have demand planners, they have what they think they're going to sell through rate every single week, 9,000 different planograms of where they go. But the small people won't. So when you're there, not having door count expansion is important. So Ron John, 12 doors, that could be, right, the best account that you sign in the next 3 years. And it feels a little mom and pop-ish, and it feels a little big bucks, which hugely valuable.
Yeah.
So you used reps a lot and sales reps a ton. Why not scale more internal?
Boots on the ground. Truthfully, there's a phrase in the wholesale world called count and fill. So not every brand is like that, but count and fill is basically something that is smaller, whether it's bracelets, could be jewelry, keychains, could be socks, where you just see it, you count how many is on the display, and you fill it. Now, how that differs from something like clothing is with clothing, like with the bigger lines, maybe 7 jeans or something, they show the buyer what the spring summer line is. The buyer does one buy, you ship it for the season, and that's it. With count and fill, you could get a reorder every month. You could get a reorder every 2 weeks. But it's hard to get that if you are not physically in the store to see it, because buyers are busy. Even if you've been selling with a buyer for a year, they may still not answer your calls. Hey, how's your display? They didn't respond. If I have a rep in Florida that goes into the store and sees a half-empty display, I'm getting a reorder that day. So,
what's typically a good percentage of sale for a rep like that? If you're going to expand that, right, commission-based jobs, things like that, some are flat fee, some have percentage of sale. It can range anywhere from 5 to 10% depending on the person. What do you think for some of the smaller brands just trying to get into there? What should they be willing to sacrifice outside of them understanding your margin and what you guys can do? What for you is like going rate, this is a good deal?
I would say prepare for 10% on average. Some clothing and higher end stuff is lower, maybe 6 to 8. And then some accessories are around 12, depending on what you want to give out. But like for us, it was 10 across the board. A lot of other accessory brands I'm working and have worked with is 10. So I would say 10.
And again, so like as you are all planning into that, when you do the expansion, you do that, understand you're gaining that footprint, what the cost is going to be, can you absorb it as a margin profile, but also you want to make sure you negotiate hard lines with your team, that they can't dip below a certain thing when they're bringing on a new account. Right? What's your plan for exactly what they can sell something for? Right? What's the hard limit so that you understand inside that context? Because you know economies of scale, you start to manufacture more, your costs can come down, right? So that will change some things, but in your mind, this is a double me asking it and saying it at the same time, how hard is it to change margin profile with a vendor once you've substantiated that in the relationship? So we've come in at 55, it's going to be hard to walk it back to 54.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can never go the other way. You can give them more discount as they grow with you, but you can't go the other way, unfortunately. So, like I said, Keystone is at least Keystone you want to be, right? Like, so Keystone is 50. So if you sell it for 10, they have to be able to sell it for 20. If you can give them more, they'll love you even more. And that's just even more of a selling point when cold calling these stores or cold emailing. If you have a product that retails for 20 and you can sell it to them for 8 or $7.50 or $8.50, you look like a hero. Because that extra money goes into paying their employees, paying the rent, paying the bills, and they're gonna probably bitch at you about it. So the more you can give them, the better. But you can't walk it back.
Johnny's got a question.
I got like 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah.
First, we just launched a new brand, which is called Sunny Summer. It's a little brand. We're in like, I think, is it 200? I don't see any from our showroom, but I think it's 200 doors right now. If you're doing DTC, like a cheat code is to find local reps, like he was just talking about, and hire them to just push into like 50 to 100 stores, and then you can hit your MOQs really easy. The one thing I would ask you is, have you ever seen, like, because this is like following what Bill said, have you ever seen a brand be able to raise the prices or lower the prices once you're into retail?
Yeah,
raise, but never lower. You can't
No. So he was asking about margin, but you mean prices, right? Like retail price, wholesale price? Oh yeah, I mean, at Pure Vita we did it every couple of years. Raise it, yeah. But you have to do it strategically, because if you don't, nothing against Pure Vita, I'm gone, but like they're raising prices again right now and gave the retailers 1 week notice and got screamed at a trade show last week. So don't do it that way. If you're gonna do it, give 6 months notice. Give the retailers a chance to buy product at the lower price for time so they'll get a higher margin. Like do something to where they benefit. Because if you're just like, hey, what was $7 is now $8 starting next week, they're gonna say, I have to reticket all the product I already have, I have to retag all this, manual labor, all this stuff. But if you're like, hey, in January of next year it'll be more, you can get away with it. They understand.
And you gotta start high. So this t-shirt that I'm wearing, we sell this for $80. When we go to the boutiques, they want more than 2.5. If you go to the department stores, it's a little tougher. It's a different animal, but price it really high for DTC so that you're embarrassed by the price of DTC. A lot of times I see brands, like talk to brands, and they'll be asking us, hey, can we come into your showroom? I'm like, absolutely not, because your margin is just not even there. Like, we don't have the ability to go in unless they raise the prices like 15%. We start at 2.5. So you were saying 10 to 2. We tell every brand try to get it at 2.5 because costs go up quickly, and then you're trying to tell the retailer that you want to raise the prices on 12.5% or 15%. It's not going to go well. Start high.
Yeah. I mean, I think Keystone is minimum, and then it depends on the industry and everything. But yeah, for clothing, maybe 2.5.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Good questions.
Dick's Sporting Goods is trying to get 58%.
Yeah.
Right? So like thinking as a major retailer, they're trying to get closer, and they have comps, they have everything else, they have the distribution, they have large scale people. So when they're doing it, they're going to push. You can also say no, right? And if your product is selling, so that's now my last question I have. If anybody else has more, what for you typically is good sell-through, weekly sell-through? I know as you get to bigger places, bigger things, sell-through is going to be part of the function of do we get repeat orders, how successful are you on the floor?
Yeah.
What are you typically looking for people so that they understand if they're doing a good job and we should start to scale?
Weekly, 5 to 10%. Usually, you want them to sell through 5 to 10% of the inventory that you have for them weekly, and they're happy and you're happy. Like most, if you get on a call with the buyer once every couple weeks and you ask how it's going and you're between 5 and 10%, they're going to be happy. If you're under 5, they're going to be kind of pissed. Got to figure it out. And if you're over, obviously that's amazing too. But I would say in that range.
Awesome. Question.
We mainly work with a lot of consumable brands that are omni-channel, but so you're more good. How did you guys think about marketing objectives and allocation against retail? And you had a direct consumer presence, right?
Yeah.
So like you come from the world of conversion objective on Meta, for example.
Yeah.
How do you expand that out, or how did you guys expand that out to support wholesale?
Good question. The wholesale world's a little different in terms of marketing. So like wholesale marketing dollars, we used instead of on e-com use it for that. We use it for trade shows. We did meetups. We would get with stores and throw an event there.
Did you shift any of your digital to wholesale or
No. No. All we ever did was for like 2 years we ran ads. We ran wholesale ads where it was like literally find them in your store, have your store look like this. We got a lot of leads. A lot were kind of shitty, but overall we did get some. But that was the only like actual digital shift that we did. Yeah. But in terms of like dollars, we put them in a wholesale. We just used it differently. Like we would connect with the store, give them $5,000 and throw an event there. And they would say sponsored by Pura Vida, we give out bracelets, that kind of thing.
Did your percentage of marketing dollars shift up with the wholesale at all, or not really? You just kept it sized to direct consumer?
Kept it sized. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When you're building out a team in-house, do you have a good benchmark for like employees per number of stores or accounts?
That's a really good question. We kind of did it based on workload because I think it could be different. Like you could, if you were to say one employee for every 50 accounts, if one of those accounts was a major and took a lot of work, they probably wouldn't have time for anything else. So for us, we did workload, honestly, and like as soon as this person was like, hey, I'm not able to proactively reach out to these accounts, I'm purely reactive, I'm just answering emails all day, okay, we need someone else. Because with that, you can just be an order taker, right? Like you can just answer your email, you can just answer a call, but you want someone proactively calling to see if they need a reorder, calling a cold call, a lead, So I think once you get to the point where this person cannot be proactive is when you need someone else. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to go back on that, like Shields that we were talking about before. Shields is one company that has now 35 doors, but every single door has an internal buyer, right? So they operate almost like individual accounts. So I have one of my sales representatives, he manages just Shields,
Yeah.
because he has to make a call to 35 different people all the time. He's now going to different stores, seeing what they have going in. So that one person is bogged down by what is not a ton of revenue overall versus somebody like a DSG, but the workload is actually, there's more relationship work going on for a Shields than for a DSG, where I've got one buyer, assistant buyer, DMM. Those are the people I'm dealing with at any given time. So everything can shape.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, the workload, you're gonna have some smaller vendors who are a lot of work. You gotta figure out for yourself, like if Ron John's an amazing, like a lot of work for one person, 12 doors, great. You might want one and then other people that you scale out.
Yeah, and how companies sometimes structure in that position too is like, as you grow, you have someone that's in charge of just majors. So like you would hire a sales rep just for majors and then hire someone else for, mom and pops or things like that. Good question. Anything else? Yeah.
Early on, how important was it for you, like managing payment systems and like, I know for big companies, like you have to deal with ERPs, but like when you had your D2C site, did you build out a wholesale structure, checkout system, payment system? Were you just doing POs, invoices, and just take payments? You mentioned like people just slapping credit cards.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Ours
So
is super fragmented right now, so that has definitely been like a barrier to trying to scale harder. Like, and it just feels like bullshit.
for sure, yeah. So what we did in the beginning was we just essentially entered these orders on QuickBooks Online, charged the card, and called it a day. We didn't have Shopify back then. Now I know Shopify makes it way easier. I think you can just manually enter orders in Shopify, or Shopify actually built out a wholesale portal. The third option is there's a couple really good B2Bs out there where, like, for example, it's called RepSpark, New Order, Elastic. That's 3 of them. It's about $12K a year on average. So I don't know where your brand is or where you're at, but like what I usually advise is, I mean, if you're doing pretty good wholesale revenue, if it's kind of fragmented, maybe one of those makes sense, or maybe that makes sense in a year after you got some orders in. But when you go with one of those, it's a whole back-end site. You have the catalog on there. The buyers can register. They can place their orders. It goes right into your system. You charge their cards. It's really easy. So, yeah, I think in the beginning we were kind of scrappy, honestly, just using QuickBooks and Shopify for you now.
That's helpful. This is like a one-word answer. If I could follow that up. When
Yeah.
You said the whole just say yes thing, was that a charged order, or was that when you say like call people, offer them an initial product sample display free, and then you like it, come back?
No, that was someone, we finally got them interested in the line, and they go, okay, well, you guys have so many colors, I don't know where to start. And we're like, hey, I already made you a suggested order. Display is free, like all you have to do is approve it. And they go, okay, yeah, looks great. All right, and then we're putting the order in, we're putting the shop. But for them, like, no back and forth, just say yes, and I will have product in your store in a week. Yeah. Yeah.
Were refills a thing in accessories or
Or what?
refills?
Not really. No. Well, I don't actually.
Are you in drinks?
Any consumable.
Yeah, so drinks, a lot of times buy 4, get 1 free, things like that.
Yeah, not in this world. That's cool though.
For them.
For them, yeah, not for you as much, yeah. Great questions.
That's a great way to also get rid of product that's not moving as well as other ones. We'll give you this flavor. If you buy 4 things, we'll give you this flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did that like in a different sense. When holidays came around and we were doing Black Friday, Cyber Monday, pissing everyone off, but everyone does it. We would be like, hey, we're throwing 10 free bracelets in with every order over $500. We're do a gift with purchase in your store. We'll provide the free bracelets. So someone spends $20 on Pure Vita, you hand them one of these, we'll give you those and the signage. So in a sense, yeah, kind of, but just at certain times.
Awesome. Let's hear it again for Jared.
Thank you guys.
I learned